Hey guys, welcome to Pretty Killer Podcast. I am your host, Jordana, and today I have one of my favorite people in the horror community. I have Annie Loves Horror. Hello, Annie.
Hi.
How's it going, babe?
It's going very good. I'm very excited to talk all things horror. I can't wait.
So excited and New York babes today because Miss Annie has moved from the UK
She's
to
an
the
American
US.
girl.
Yes, I'm loving it. How are you loving it?
I am loving it. I don't want to go back. That's it now. I'm an American girly forever.
Done. Solidified.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. A question though, like, is there something from the UK that you're missing in the US?
Um, Oof. I mean, I was in London. I do
Mhm.
miss London. It is such
Facts.
a great place to be because everything is in one place. Like everything is there. You
How
don't need
convenient.
you don't need to travel anywhere. You just or maybe you just jump on the tube for like 5 minutes.
Oh,
Um, so I mean, I'll always miss London. I loved it, but
mhm,
my family are in Wales. My parents are in Wales, so I do miss them.
of
But
course.
they are going to come and visit. So other than that,
Good.
no, I love it, and I'm staying.
Yes. So happy that you are happy here because we are happy to have you. Yes. Okay, so I guess like to start things off, why don't you just tell everyone like a little bit about yourself, like how you came into horror, like what sparked your love for horror?
Mm. I'm horror obsessed, and I have been
Yes.
since I was maybe 7 or 8 years old. It all started with Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Hmm.
And it just sort of spiraled from then. My mum loved horror movies, so she got me into Scream, Halloween, like the classics.
Amazing woman.
Um, but yeah, it's a passion that's sort of turned into a part-time career almost. So, I do social media management work freelance. And then
Hmm.
I also do my Annie's Horror Instagram and TikTok as well, where I just talk about my love of horror movies.
And we love it. I love seeing your recommendations. And I remember like when I first found you, just the things that you would talk about and the movies you talk about resonated with me because I'm like, oh, I love these movies. Like,
Mm.
this is my girl. And then as soon as your undying love for Terrifier came out,
Oh, yeah.
like I just felt that
Yes, I'm a
instantly.
huge Terrifier fan. Counting down the days until 3 comes out.
How many times did you watch the trailer? Honestly.
I've lost count.
I
I've
know.
lost count.
Yes.
I watched it on the laptop first, then I watched it on my phone, then I put it on the TV, and then I put it on the
Yes.
bedroom TV, watched it again when
Yes.
I got into bed. I was like, oh my
Hmm.
God, it's so good.
And I feel like every single time you watch it, you find something new. Like, not that I
Yeah,
want to find so much because I don't want to spoil too much, but there's so much detail in every scene.
there is. But I have also heard that that's just like the tip of the iceberg that we've seen. There is a lot more to come. So I feel like although we've seen a lot, we've still only seen a fraction of it, which I'm very excited about.
Me
But
too.
I don't typically watch trailers because I
Hmm.
like to avoid everything. And sometimes I get really annoyed when there's a lot of stuff in the trailer that gives it away. But I feel
Yes.
like with a Terrifier movie, you kind of know what to expect if you've seen the
Hmm.
first two. You know that
Yes.
Art is psychotic and he doesn't give a shit. So
Mhm.
I was okay watching the Terrifier 3 trailer because, I mean, we're just going to see blood, guts, gore, everything. So I'm
Exactly.
excited. It hyped me up even more.
Yes, me too. And I was like you, I wanted to avoid it at all costs because unfortunately, trailers have gotten a
Mm,
little TMI over the years.
absolutely. Yeah.
And that was gonna be my next question is like the whole giving too much, the whole, like with trailers, it's just it's silly. Like imagine Abigail if we never got anything in
And
that.
I did a video on that. That movie is a great movie, and I gave it
Mhm.
an 8 out of 10, and I loved it. Same guys that did Ready or Not. I love that as well.
Mhm.
But if we didn't know she was going to be a vampire, spoiler alert, um, then that would have been a hell of a twist. Because luckily enough, I went to the early screening in London, and
Mhm.
if I didn't know about that, I feel like, or any people in the audience didn't know, like everyone would have been so much more shocked, and we probably would have been cheering. And sometimes it happens when you go to an early screening, or if you go like on the first night, everyone's like screaming and shouting. That's
Yes.
one of those movies that probably would have achieved that if they'd not given it away. But I also understand that sometimes it's not down to the guys who make it, like those two, Matt and Tyler,
I believe it's
I
Tyler.
believe.
Yes.
I feel like their love of horror and their passion for horror, because they did Scream 5 as well.
Yes.
Did they do 6 too?
I think they did do 6.
They do 5 and I think they did 5 and 6.
Yes, but they're
So
not
I
doing
feel like
7.
they're not doing 7, no. I feel like
Yes.
their love of horror, probably from their standpoint, maybe they wouldn't have wanted to give it away. But when you've got big studios involved,
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes things are taken, out of your control. But that's a good
Absolutely.
one. And also the same with Trap. I mean, I'm not going to bother seeing it now. Did you see it?
I haven't yet. I'm gonna wait for streaming just because I've heard that like, and this might be a spoiler, but like everything they showed is pretty much what happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like, what's the point of that?
Yeah, I have heard that there is nothing else that adds to it really in
And
the movie.
that one, yes, and Abigail, yes, but the one that annoys me the most is the Speak No Evil trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just like, I don't know about you, but Speak No Evil, the original, just like that fucked me up. That movie was polarizing in every sense of the word.
Crazy. It's crazy. And I knew nothing about it. All I knew was people in my comments were going mad for it, and they were DMing me saying, because I say, DM me whatever you think, what you're watching.
Yes.
And I had a few messages, Speak No Evil, you've got to watch it. I won't tell you, just watch. And when I watched it,
It was like, fuck.
I mean, I'm not a parent, and I felt it in my gut. Like, I felt sick. So,
I feel like that's like a normal reaction because also, like, if you kind of take away the parent element to it, it's just like meeting new people. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, this is how like friendships are made. Like, you don't know someone, you become friends, but like, how easily do you trust people? When do you have boundaries? And that to me is terrifying.
One thing, I mean, I love that film. The
Hmm.
one thing that I couldn't get on board with was the people pleasing and the sort of like naivety to what was going on, and just like staying quiet and being polite. I mean, I don't know. I've heard that holds up with where is it? Where is it filmed?
Was it in, oh my goodness,
Where is it? Because it's two, the couples are two different nationalities,
is
and
it,
apparently that's sort of the way that maybe they interact, is they are very polite, and they wouldn't be outspoken.
yes.
So I can't remember where they're from,
Was
the
it like the
couple.
Netherlands or something like that?
Yeah, I
Let me
believe
see.
so. It's something like that. So apparently it holds up. It is sort of representative.
And I get that. And like and I like that you bring that up because yes, it could be culturally, that's how it
Yes.
goes. But like for me, I'm very like trust my gut. So if something was
Yes.
off, I would be like, we need to get out of here. And I'm telling you what, that teddy bear or whatever that stuffed animal was, fuck
Leave
that. I'll
that
buy
shit
you,
behind. Yeah.
yeah, I'll buy you a new one. But
I'll get
like,
you a new one. I'll get you a better one. Don't worry about
yeah,
it.
we'll be good. You'll thank me
We're fine.
later. Yes.
Yeah, but again, in the original movie, you know something is off with this couple, but you don't quite know what it is or where
Yeah.
it's gonna go until like it goes.
It goes
With
there.
this one in the trailer, they can tell you just how psychotic James McAvoy is gonna turn out to be, which is a bit of a shame. I'm
I
still gonna
know.
watch it, of course, because
Same.
I think he's a great actor.
I do too.
And the girl who plays his wife, I can't remember her name, but she's the girl from Stop Motion. Have you seen that one?
Oh, yes, I have watched Stop Motion. I
Yes, yeah,
enjoyed that
that's
one a
good.
lot.
And
Yes.
I haven't seen her in anything before, so I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to her performance in it as well. Did it need to be made 2 years after the first one? No.
I don't think so either. I think it's surprising how fresh this one was, Speak No Evil, and like the
Yeah.
buzz around it because it was pretty popular. Like a lot of people loved it. And for it to be remade so quickly is somewhat alarming. But like you said, I can't miss James McAvoy. Like I have to watch it just because of him.
He always brings it every role. I've never seen him play a bad role, so I'm
Same.
excited to see how demented he is. I feel like it's going to be very much like his Split role.
Yes, and like
So
riding on his coattails, like to have
yeah,
him be like the powerhouse. Yes, I'm curious. I'm curious for that one.
yeah. So I am excited for that. Of course, I'll be watching it.
Yes. So now we're talking about like the movies we are excited for anticipating. What have been some of your favorites from 2024?
I have 3 movies that I have given 10 out of 10, 100%, 5 out of 5, whatever you want to rate it.
Yes.
They are First Omen,
Yes.
Late Night with the Devil,
Yes.
and a film I watched recently, which isn't necessarily horror, it's more of a thriller, called Strange Darling. It is phenomenal. Have you seen it?
No, but I'm like itching. Like I'm hearing everyone talk about it, and the anticipation for this movie is fucking real because I cannot wait to watch it.
It's so good. I mean, it's not horror
Hmm.
by definition, like it's not, but it gives me like, it's sort of similar to Long Legs. Long Legs, I don't think is a horror. It's more like, sort of serial killer sort of thing.
Yes.
It's very much like that vibe,
Hmm.
but it's great. But I mean, First Omen did something to me I didn't think was possible.
But that's great. I love when you watch a movie and you were not expecting the payoff from what you
Yes.
expected, because that literally says so much about the film making, the storytelling, the
Oh,
casting, everything as a whole. So I completely agree.
it was, yeah, it was incredible. Same with Late Night with the Devil. I saw that in it was an early screening in London, but it wasn't like a press screening. It was just a very small. I think there was like 15 of us. It was just a very small studio. It was like Soho screening rooms. It was in
I love
there,
it. Yes.
so it was quite small and quite intimate. And I was just like, I was silent. I mean, I don't talk in movies anyway, but sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, that was good," or "Oh, look at that," or something like that. But I was just silent the whole time. And then after it finished, I was like, "Oh."
Yes.
And my friend was with me, Chris, Big
Mhm.
Fat Cult, on
Yes.
TikTok and Instagram, and it was his second or third time watching it, I think.
I
And
love
he was
that
like,
for
when we
him.
came out, he was like, "So what did you think?" I think he was hoping that I was going to be like, "I loved it," and I was
Yeah.
like, "That was a masterpiece." And he was like, "Wasn't it? Wasn't it so good?"
I was the same way because I got a screener of it and I
Yeah,
was excited for it because I like knew with David S. Mulch. I was just like, I
yeah,
love him.
me too.
So I was super excited, and I love the premise of like a 70s movie, found footage style on Halloween. Like,
Mm.
come on. And I'm with you. That is like top of my list. I love it so much.
It was incredible. Yeah, I've watched it. I don't know. Same with First Omen. I've watched them loads and loads of times since, and it's those ones I just don't get fed up of. I can just keep going over and over again, like House of
Absolutely.
Wax or Ghost Ship. Those two are
Yes.
going to be like instant classics for me.
Constant rotation. I'm the same way. Anytime anyone's like recommend a good horror movie, I tell them late night. We
Yeah,
have friends that come over and they're like, there was some movie we wanted to watch late night. And I'm like, got it. Already pulled it
I
up.
I know it. I've got it ready.
And also my kid, I did not think that she would be scared because we've seen quite a bit of horror movies this year that I thought would be terrifying for her, but she said that one got her good.
Really?
Yes. So I think
Yeah,
that's
it
cool.
is
That's like,
creepy.
yes. And
It's
it's
really
just
creepy.
mesmerizing, like the music. I don't know about you, but the whole like being here and that all of it was just
Yeah.
it fits
And
so
the
perfectly.
aesthetic of it all is just, oh,
I
it's
love it.
so good. Anybody who says that's not a good film is talking shit, because it's brilliant.
I almost like I know I do another podcast and they're like, I don't really understand why you love it so much, Rihanna. I'm like, because it's literally a
Oh,
masterpiece. It's
oh,
like you say, it's a 10 out of 10.
it's so it's such an original concept as well. I can't even think of a movie that I can compare it to. Maybe it's a little bit like The Cleansing Hour, but
Yes,
like way better. And that wasn't like, it didn't have that 70s vibe and stuff. Like, it's so good.
absolutely. I love it so much. And then I wanted to talk about, because I know that you watched it and you just posted a video, Oddity as well.
Again, such a good film. I think I gave it a 9 or a 9.5.
Hmm.
Very pleasantly surprised. I'd seen loads of people post about it. Didn't realize it was an Irish film.
Yes.
So I was, yeah, pleasantly surprised to hear the Irish accent.
Yep.
Um, Again, like, with the original creative ideas, like it's similar to Late Night with the Devil, I can't think of anything else that's done what they've done with that, and
Yep.
that's
Absolutely.
why it was so good. And again, jump scares, come on, I love them. Give them to me, give them to me, give them to
Yes.
me.
Perfectly crafted. I hit myself in the head like 3 times with my candy bag because like it wasn't expecting it.
Did the first one get you
Yes.
with the killer reveal? The mask, that mask is creepy as fuck. Oh my
I
god.
fucking love that mask, and that's, like, one of my newer faves because I
Yeah.
think it's so simplistic, but, like, so effective, and the wooden thing,
Oh,
like, I want that in my house. I want that at my dining room table.
I love the scene where she says, this isn't really a spoiler,
Mhm.
but she turns up to the house with this box and you don't know what's in it, and the camera's shooting from behind the box. She opens it up and she's like, you know, my mother would have wanted you to have it. And I'm like, what is in there? And it's this huge wooden statue with the mouth wide open, like the scariest thing you've ever seen in your life, sitting at the dining room table. And another thing with that is, how were they just so kind of calm with it? That this creature, wooden creature, was sitting at the table chilling, and they're like just walking past it casually. Like, I would be like eyes on it.
The whole time, like, seeing if it creaks, and you're like, "I saw that."
Oh, I'd be like, get that fucking thing out of my house now.
Well, like, that's the funniest thing because I told like, when Greg and I were watching it, my husband, he was like, "The sad thing is you'd probably, like, want that in the house." Like, if that was given as a gift, I'm like, "Yeah, I guess guilty," but, like, he's so creepy in the
It's
scene.
so,
Yes, when they're pulling the stuff, like, that had me so engaged, and I was, like,
yeah,
anticipating something super creepy, but I don't know, Damian McCarthy, I feel like is the director that we need to be watching for because Caveat.
yeah.
Did you watch
Yes.
Caveat? Did you
Yeah,
like
I
that
know.
one?
Now I saw it years and years and years ago, and I remember it being a good film.
Mhm.
But now that I've watched this and realised that he did that as well, I said to Kevin, we need to go back and watch it this weekend because he was
Yes.
really impressed with Oddity as well.
Mhm.
So I said we'll go back and watch it. Yeah, I think we're going to watch it. What day is it? Tomorrow night, Saturday night.
Love that.
And then we might watch Oddity again because it was just so good.
Yes, I get so excited to, like, show these movies to people. Like, our in-laws come down quite a bit, and
Mm.
they're always like, "What do you have stacked up for us?" And I have Long Legs for them this time
Mm.
and Oddity.
Mm.
So I'm
Very
excited.
good.
Yes.
Tell me, we both recently watched Stream.
Oh my god.
What did you think?
It was such a fun time. Okay. Like, overall, is that not, like, some of the best, like, fun moments at the theater that we've had lately?
100%. It was so Terrifier coded as well, which we love because we're
Yes.
huge Terrifier fans. And Damien was doing the effects, and it was essentially the whole Terrifier team on
Yes.
board for this. And it was much better than I expected. I knew it was going to
Same.
be good.
Mhm.
I didn't realize how good it was going to be, especially with I knew there was a couple of like horror icons in there. I didn't realize how many were in there. My
Yes.
God, there's loads of them. And the kills, the kills, the kills.
The
Oh,
kills were, like, exactly what I went in for, and also the horror royalty that graced the screen because we got some
oh,
amazing characters, and you know what? We will say, like, a little bit of spoilers. I won't say the name, but the end scene when they made the clown reference and who the other person who made the cameo,
yeah,
that
I
made
know.
my horror heart, like, whole. It was
I know.
amazing.
So good. And I really loved David's performance as player two. I thought he
Same.
was great.
Mhm.
Similar characteristics to Art, because I knew David was in it. I didn't know who he was. I didn't want to look for anything. And
Yes.
at the same moment in the theatre, Kevin and I said to each other, that's got to be David as player two because he's got that sort of similar movements, like very creepy, very
Yeah. Yes.
very sort of art-esque, and I was like, that's got to be him surely, and then it was him. But they were like, the performances were so good, really good.
Same. It just felt like when I watched Terrifier for the first time and it had that, like, like 80s aesthetic, cheesy, but, like, done
Yeah,
in such a good way. And I loved David. I loved 1. I thought 1 was kind of eerie. And I loved
yeah,
3. Is 3 the girl or was it 4 was the girl?
yeah. Was she four, maybe
4,
three,
yes.
four?
I loved her.
Yeah, they were, all the killers were great. I loved it. And favorite death?
Oh my goodness, this one's a tough one. I really enjoyed the video game sequence.
Yes,
I love that one.
very, very good. I loved
Yeah.
that one as well. My one was, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it,
Mhm.
stop listening,
Yep.
viewers. Mine was later on in the movie where they're playing like tic-tac-toe.
That, oh my God, how the hell did I forget about that one? But that one was amazing. So
Oh.
creative. And that's what I mean. Like, who sits around and thinks about, I mean, I want in on it because I would love to throw some creative deaths in there, but like, I don't think mine would ever be as elaborate as the people on Fuzz on the Lens production because they kill
Honestly, I
it.
think it's Damien and Phil Falcone, I think his name is.
Yep.
He did that one. Phil did the one that I liked.
Love that.
Um,
Oh,
how do you come up with creative kills? I mean, I don't think after all the films that I've seen, I still think I'd struggle to think of something like that, like a tic-tac-toe death. Like, where does
right.
that come from? It's just so good.
I love it because it's definitely like not the norm and it's let's evolve killings because sometimes I feel like we get stagnant like with the kills, but these guys always amp it up by 1,000 each time. And like you said in the beginning, Terrifier 3, we only got like a sneak peek, but to see new weapons, new ideas, I
And
cannot
I
fucking
love
wait.
that she says, I've got to go back to the Terrifier. So it's going back and taking place in that where we had that last sequence
Yes.
in two, and a couple of other like Easter egg things. I don't know if you noticed her friend from two was like screaming. I was like, oh
I
my
don't I was so excited to see her back. I was like, even if it's
god.
gonna be for like a dream sequence, I was like,
Yeah,
uh
I'll take it. I will take
yes.
it. So I'm
Her
very excited.
her kill was so brutal. I mean, granted, the bedroom scene was the gnarliest one for most people.
Oh,
Um, but hers was pretty intense too, because I would
that
not
was crazy.
want acid thrown in my goddamn face and then beaten with
With
our
that thing
club.
that he's concocted, which has got every single thing in it that you could think of in a piece of wood. Oh,
I just love him so much. I'm so happy we got like blessed with art in our horror prime because he is like the next horror icon.
I mean, to me, even like before the third, after the second film, I do feel like Art the Clown is up there with Ghostface and Michael Myers and Jason and Pennywise. I would consider him same ranking.
Same.
Even though those films, we've had like, how many of those films have we had? 5, 7, 10, 13 of those films.
Millions.
And we've
Yes.
only had two, but I think he's that iconic and like memorable that he's sort of same level for me, if
Yeah.
not maybe one of my favorites.
Same on my Mount Rushmore, he's there, and that's so, like,
Yeah.
controversial to some. They're like, "How can you put him on there?" I'm like, "Well, to be fair, like, that's my preference."
Yeah,
And
honestly, yeah, if I had to go top three,
mhm,
it's
yes.
probably Art, Michael, and Ghostface.
I love that. Mine is Michael, Art, Ghostface. I've always loved Michael, though, like, since a wee little gal, I've always loved him, and but particularly 1 and 2 because as he evolves, he doesn't get I mean, he's less scary to me and the movies get a little bit
Yes.
silly, but,
Yeah.
like, 1 and 2 did something to my soul to make me terrified of him. But
Mm,
Art is like, he's inching, and 3 might push him to that threshold of
yeah.
1.
It's so funny. I showed Kevin the bedroom scene with
Yeah.
no context. I just said, "Look, just watch this bedroom scene in Terrified 2." And he was like, "This is horrific. This is, oh my God, like, how do you find this entertaining? Blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "I need to see it in context." So I said, "Right, let's sit down and watch Terrified 2 from start to finish." And then the second time it came on, he was laughing. I was like, "See, you get the vibe of Art now because it's so over the top. It becomes funny, like, and
Yes.
you, the more brutal that Art is, the more you love him because it's
Yes.
like that part in the bedroom scene when he runs in with the salt and the bleach. Like, how can you not laugh out loud? It's just so ridiculous, but it's great.
I'm glad that you said that because that's how it is for me, like, especially when he had the glasses on in the Abracadabra
Yes,
store and he's doing
squish
that
this
shit.
bit. I love it. It's brilliant.
I love it too, and my so a lot of people like, I don't sit and show my daughter things that she would be too afraid of, but she loves him. She thinks she also said, "Thank you so much for the tickets." She wanted me to tell
Oh,
you
I'm glad
before
you
we
all
came on.
enjoyed.
Yes, but she said that she was like, "I could tell who Art was as soon
Mm.
as he got on the screen because the new scene in Stream, remember how he, like, turned around and then he started doing his wacky moves?"
Yeah.
She was like, "That's so totally Art," but she watched the whole, bottle scene. And she was just like, the effects are amazing because it looks so real, but like it's so perfectly crafted and cheesy, and it's
Yeah.
funny beforehand that it takes you out of it being like an August
Yeah.
Underground, or like, you know what I mean? Like a complete extreme horror movie that's meant to be that brutal.
I mean, in the stream screening, it
Mhm.
was this beautiful theatre, and it was packed full of family and friends, and
Mhm.
movie reviewers and stuff like that. And the kills, as they go on, they sort of get more and more brutal. But the crowd were getting more and more louder because they were like amping it on. So like every time another kill would come on, like everyone was like, yes! It's just, again, with same with Stream and with Terrifier, they're so over the top, and like you're sort of rooting for the bad guy, and you're
Yes.
excited for these people to get like bludgeoned and slaughtered because the practical effects is done so well. I think
Mhm.
it's like it's just such an appreciation. So like people were going wild there, like we were screaming. It was so good.
That sounds like such a fun theater experience, and that kind of is like a perfect lead in to one of my questions for you. And it doesn't have to be recent, but like, what are some memorable theater experiences you've had with horror?
Well, that's certainly one. That's my
Mhm.
most recent one. Just because of just the hype. It was just like it was, yeah,
Amazing.
euphoric. The noises in there. I'm trying to think of some other. I mean, I've been lucky enough in London to go to early screenings where they've had a whole setup with like drinks and like photos. And
Mhm.
I think the first one I got invited to, this is before I'd moved to London. So um, I was like ecstatic to go. It was for the Nun 2. And I drove up to London and I booked a hotel and I stayed for the night. And that was a really good experience because they screened it in a church, believe it or not.
Oh my god, that would have been magical.
They
That would have been the
screened it in
best.
a yeah. So they had a whole they had like a spooky walkthrough with nuns. The lights were going off and flickering, and then
Ooh.
as we were seated in this like gorgeous church, the nuns were walking up and down the aisles. So that was an incredible like theatrical experience. Certainly not a normal one.
Right.
But if I was to actually think of just a normal time where I've gone to the cinema that's maybe impacted me more,
Mhm.
it would probably be when Scream 5 came out.
Ooh.
I was so obsessed with that. I watched it with friends, and then I loved it so much that I wanted to watch it again before it came streaming. So that was the first time that I'd gone to the cinema on my own. And that's not long ago. Like, when was that? 2022?
Yeah, 22, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd never been to the cinema on my own before. I'd always gone with family or friends or a partner.
Mhm.
So that was like sort of one of my best theatrical experiences because I was completely immersed on my own.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd never been before. I'd always have somebody talking to me, or do you know what I mean? I'd always be mindful of somebody next to me. So that's
Yeah.
probably one as well.
I love that. It's funny you say that too about Scream 2 because Scream 2022 because I went and saw Scream 2 in theaters, and that was such a fun experience to, like, have the amount of people that we had in our little small theater to be equally as excited, and, like,
Mm.
11-year-old me was just like, "Oh
Yes.
my god," like, waiting for Ghostface to come down. I'm like, "Why did they hand out costumes at this one?" Like, such a fun experience with Scream, and I love that you went by yourself as well,
Mhm.
because sometimes, like, it's okay to go by yourself and enjoy it and have you absorb it, not, like, kind of care about who's around you or, like,
Exactly.
you
Sometimes
know?
I find it even better, like just to
Mhm.
go on my own, especially for something that like I'm really excited about, and I don't, I'll avoid the trailers, I'll avoid anything online, and I'll just go on my own and just be
Yes.
completely immersed. So sometimes it can be even better. So if you're watching this and you've never been to the cinema on your own, this is your sign to go.
We're telling you, go buy the ticket, go
Go.
watch it, and have the best time. I went a couple times by myself, but it was because my ex-boyfriend was not into horror, so, like,
Right.
thankfully, I ditched that dude, and now I am someone who actually
Thank God.
loves. Yes.
Red
Uh,
flag.
major I know, the first time it was, the Friday the 13th remake, and I asked him to go because it was opening night, and I was pumped. I was so excited to have
Yeah, of
another
course.
Friday, and he didn't go, he went to the bar instead, and I was just like, "Hmm, well,
Oh,
yeah,
bye.
yeah, see you later." Um, so also spooky season is slowly but surely creeping upon us, and I cannot fucking wait.
Me too.
So excited. What now that you're in the US, is there anything that you're looking forward to spooky season wise that you didn't get to experience?
So for years and years and years, I have wanted to go to Halloween Horror Nights, and this year I will be going.
Are you going to Orlando or Hollywood?
I'm going to the Hollywood one.
Oh my
I've been to Universal Studios in Orlando before. It was about
God.
10 years ago, and I went in the summer. I didn't go for Halloween. So I sort of know what to expect rides wise.
Yes.
The rides can wait, okay? I've got mazes to get through, and I
Yeah.
don't care if I don't go on a single ride. I am in those houses because, like, in the UK, we have scare mazes that pop up seasonally. So they pop up in September, and November they're gone for Halloween.
Oh.
And they're just like five houses, or like three
Mhm.
houses, something like this. No, 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 no. We don't like, we have small theme parks that do things, but not like this. Like, I feel
Yes.
like this is going to be big.
It's such an amazing experience if you've anticipated it, like, because I feel like you're like me. I was born in Orlando, so I always wanted to go, but my nana was like, "You are not going, like, you're 7, you're not going to an event like this." And
Yeah,
was
it's going to
heart
traumatize you for life.
I was heartbroken. I wanted to ride the Jaws ride at night, but
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, that ride was an experience, like, for horror lovers and just Jaws in
mm.
general. Um, but when we finally got to go, it was our honeymoon, and at the end of the night, we cried.
Do you know
We're
what? I'm probably going to do the same damn thing in October. I'm going to be so overwhelmed,
I
especially
know.
because in the UK, like I said, we have scare mazes, but they're just general sort of like clowns chasing you with a chainsaw and stuff. Here
Yep.
you have themed mazes because
Yes.
it's universal. So you have like Psycho and you have like Insidious and that. We don't have anything like that in the UK. So I am willing to spend every single penny that is in my bank account to experience this and have like the best experience possible. I said to Kevin, we need to fast track everything because I'm
Yes.
not queuing. I have to do it all. This is like maybe like a once in a lifetime experience because I know how expensive it is. So if we
Mhm.
do it this year, we have to go like all out.
Absolutely. Are you
So,
like anticipating any house in particular? Because you guys get the Weekend House and Texas Chainsaw, because Orlando doesn't have those two.
oh, I didn't know this.
Yes, you guys are like, I went to the Weekend House in 2022 in Orlando, and it was chef's kiss just for the ambiance, just for the music,
Oh.
the whole groove of things. But like, yeah, you guys have it this year.
Well, I didn't know this, and now I'm even more excited.
Yes, and I'm sorry if I spoiled it. If you're trying to like
No,
avoid
I have no.
any of that,
To be honest, I've been trying to research everything and like see what's there and what we need to do and stuff because I don't. If I'm there, I don't want to miss anything. So
yes,
I'm glad that you've told me this because I can sort of add it to the list of things to check off. But
absolutely,
I'm very excited.
yes, and then
I'm just excited for just being in America for Halloween because you guys do everything so big.
mhm.
It's like even just like the decorations and stuff. I'm excited to just see what it looks like come October.
Yeah, it's so much, and like to take it all in, it's just so overwhelming, but it's literally one of the best experiences you'll
Like,
ever have,
yeah.
ever. And then you'll have to go to Orlando because next year they're doing Epic Universe and they have the
Yeah.
Dark Universe.
Mm.
Because I'm gonna move in. I'm gonna bring my bags and say I live here now. Thank
Okay, so I'm
you.
coming. I'm buying one ticket and I'm never leaving. So
I'm
you
gonna
need to
sleep
keep
with
these houses up
Frankenstein.
all year.
Yes, I'm so excited.
But yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've always wanted to do a Universal, so I mean, I've got to do it.
I love it. I cannot wait to see and hear all your thoughts on it.
Oh, also, I went to Spirit Halloween last week. Holy fuck!
Your
Oh my
haul,
god!
your Art the Clown sign, first off, after I saw you had that, I immediately went to the website. Of course, it's sold out, but
No.
yeah, it was, but there's one, because there's a couple around me, and someone said there was, like, 3 signs, so, later on today, when we're in that vicinity, I was gonna check it out.
Go have a
And
look.
your Art Crispy mug, I fucking love it.
I know. Well, the I had to order that because the same thing happened. Like I went there, I went to Spirit Halloween for that cup thing, and I
Mhm.
went for the art animatronic. Yes, I'm going to spend $200 on a 6 foot tall art animatronic because why wouldn't I?
Absolutely. Yes.
And they both weren't there. So I thought, oh well, it doesn't matter. I'll order them online. But I also left with 5 bags. Plus, I did an online order because this is just, again, we don't have this in the UK. It's not a thing. And so many of my followers that are from the UK are like, "Where did you get that? Where did you get that?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry, it's for
So
Halloween.
sorry.
Sorry, suckers."
As you're pulling everything out, look what I got.
I know. So yeah, and they're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake."
Well, that when I watched your story and the ghost face did the head tilt, I was like,
Oh,
okay, maybe I'll fuck with Ghostface this year because
I know.
I'm like you, I will spend 200 and something dollars just to have it because
Easy.
why not?
If the art animatronic doesn't come back in, then I'll get the ghost face one because
Yes.
that is like, and he says something different every time.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because I was there like a little kid, just like stamping my foot on the thing for about 10 minutes, and I was going, "He's saying something else. He's saying something else."
I would be the
Yes,
same
I
way
am
though. I'd be
32
like,
years old.
and we will forever stay 2 years old because I don't even care.
Oh my god, I can't. Yeah, it's really good. So I think they're around the same price, so I
Mhm.
might go back and get that one.
Well, I encourage any horror purchase, so spend the money. We only have one life to live, and
Thank
that's
you.
what I always say, spend the money. Go buy the movie ticket, go to the horror event, do it all.
Just do it. Live your life.
Yes. And so my next question is for someone who like is kind of dabbling in the horror world and they don't know where to start, where like what few movies would you maybe like recommend for them starting out?
Ooh, I would probably recommend my favorite horror movie of all time, which is Ghost Ship.
Love that movie so much.
It's so good, and I do feel like it's like a good beginner watch. It's quite creepy, and it is a little bit gory in parts, but I
Mhm.
mean the opening scene. But I think it's a really good starting point, something like that. If you're looking for something a lot more tamer,
Mhm.
then the film that did it for me was like my entry into horror was The Mummy.
And that is the most amazing movie to like because it's such
It's
a universally loved
yeah,
movie.
it's so good. I mean, it scared the shit out of me because I think I was 7 or 8,
Same.
and I was terrified of like the mummies. um, but I do feel like that's what started my love into that.
Mhm.
So after that came Scream and Halloween and that. I mean, I did cry when I watched it the first time, but again, I was 8.
I know it's
Um,
terrifying.
but I cried, but it also sparked something in me like these are good tears, I think, and I want to do it again. So my mother was like, oh, "Okay, well, let's watch Scream next week then."
And you're like, "Yes." And
Yeah,
how did you
I'm
feel?
gonna cry again.
I literally like had to I watched it in the daytime in my mom's because she was a travel agent on her little TV VCR double set.
Yeah.
And I actually got to rent it and I was like, I'm doing this because I was such a chicken shit. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it. And I started it, and as soon as he crossed and see him for the first time run, I had to pause it. I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. I was so scared.
Scream is one of those movies that, like, again, it's up there. It's neck and neck with Ghost Ship. They're both my favorite.
Yes.
But the opening scene for a long time when I was younger, I had to skip it and I had to just go straight
Yes.
into Sydney's story. I couldn't watch.
I
I
love
couldn't
that for you.
watch Drew Barrymore. I'm just trying to think of other good entry level films. I mean, anything sort of early 2000s like Wrong Turn, they're quite
Yes.
fun. What else? The Insidious movie, I don't think are that scary.
It's a solid franchise for people that like want
Yeah.
that paranormal, like fun jump scare. So that's a great
Yeah.
one to recommend.
Oh, and actually, like Paranormal Activity, those are quite good. It's sort of creepy, but you don't ever see anything. So you
Yes.
just sort of nothing can haunt you apart from something that's not there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, I think yeah, something like that. And anything older, like What One Missed Call or When a Stranger Calls. Those like types
Yes.
of films are good entry level points.
Absolutely.
And similarly, like films like Imaginary that we've had recently, I think that's like a good entry level
Mhm. Did you
movie.
what did you think of that? Like, I didn't think it was as bad as everyone
I
made it out to be compared to, like, Night Swim.
Nice Room was bad.
Yes.
Nice
Yes.
Room was bad. And
Very
that was the
bad.
first horror movie of the year, and I did think, oh my god, please, please don't say this is the way it's going.
I was scared.
Imaginary, I gave it a 5 out of 10. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I went to see it in the cinema, and I don't know. There was times where I got a bit bored. It was a
Hmm.
little bit, I don't know. It was a little bit tame, but it was fine.
They're weird with their storytelling because I remember before I used to see Blumhouse come up before they got like super huge with all their big movies, and I would get so excited because I'm like, oh, this is gonna slap because it's Blumhouse, and
House.
you know what I mean, like Creep and like
Mm.
all the older ones. And then now I'm just kind of like when I see Blumhouse attached to it, I'm just kind of like, oh no, like it could go
Where is
either
this gonna
way.
go? I
Yes.
feel like, and again, Night Swim and Imaginary, they were both dramas, really, with a
Yes.
little bit of some scary stuff in it. It's like you said, heavy on the storytelling and not really much horror or scares. So
Yeah.
I feel the same when I see Blumhouse. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
Same. And like I was in the same boat with you. As soon as I watched Imaginary, I'm like, if this is what 2024 is like showing us now, I'm terrified. But what a turnaround.
Oof, I know
And
we have had some really good ones.
yes, and we still have like what 4 months left. And we have Nosferatu,
Mm.
The Front Room, Terrifier 3. Like we have some bangers coming. So I'm curious.
Absolutely. Yeah, me too. Terrifier 3 is my most anticipated. But we've also got Smile 2 coming in October as well, October 18th. Now I
Yes,
loved Smile.
I did
So
too.
I'm eager to watch this one.
Yes. Did you like Barbarian?
I did, yeah, I did. It was different to what I thought. I do like that they set up the trailer to be like the standard guy, she's staying somewhere with a random man, he's a serial killer or something like that, and it was nothing like that.
Uh,
So it
Yeah.
was it was essentially two stories, wasn't it? Because you get that split down the middle where it just cuts to Justin Long and like it sort of starts again. I'm like, what is going on? But I did enjoy it. I thought it was good. Did you?
I did. I loved like exactly like you said. The trailer pretty much gave us nothing, which I can appreciate.
Exactly.
Loved that. And then when it turned into like the real horror story of that man creating the
Mm.
monster, like it was just I loved that take on it and the imagery of like Justin Long about to like suck on her hairy
Oh
long
my god,
kitty. It was so gross, but like
I forgot about that
amazing
bit.
because it's terrifying. Like that's scary. That's some
This
scary shit.
guy gets himself into some questionable roles. I mean, look at us. Look at this. Like,
Jeepers
every time I
creepers.
see him, every time I see him in a horror movie, I'm like, I know it's going to be good because he's in it, but I also question if he's going to be okay.
Yeah, because chance 9 out of 10, Justin Long is not going to be okay.
He just loves to die in horror movies, and
Yeah,
we love to watch him die. So keep up the good work, Justin Long.
I'm here for it. But Barbarian, he truly pissed me off, and I wanted the
Oof.
worst case scenario for him. I was like, this guy needs to just quick.
He was, yeah, he's always played similar characters, but I've
Mhm.
never really seen it. He's always played the victim. Like I always think of him in Jeepers Creepers. But in Barbarian, it was quite cool to see him as like the bad guy actually like getting his comeuppance, because usually I always feel sorry for him.
Same. And as soon as he like pushed her off the water tower, because that poor girl
Yeah.
literally just wanted
Oh,
to go to her Airbnb and like call it a night, and she had to go on this fucked up experience. But as soon as that happened, I was like, I hope he just gets his head stomped like a watermelon.
yeah. He deserved everything that came to him. And I think I listened to, I think it was the Evolution of Horror
Mhm.
podcast. I don't know if you've heard of that or if you listened to it.
I've
Mike
heard of him.
Munster, he's
Mhm.
British. He's really really good, and I think he did an episode with the director, and the director had said how he'd initially shot it, or he'd initially wrote it, and not really thought of like the women's point of view about her like going to an Airbnb and like there's a man there and being on her own. So it was something. I mean, I'm probably explaining this terribly, but he'd gone back with the women, like the team of women who were on the film, and they were like, no, you should do it like this instead to give it a more like accurate portrayal. But and like the emphasis on her thinking, oh my god, is this guy gonna attack me, or is he gonna, it's creepy here, like there's a basement and stuff, I don't know what's going on. And then him, Justin Long, turning up and being like, oh my god, I'm gonna make a fortune out of this, like I don't care, I'm not scared at all. So like
Yep.
the comparison between a man and a woman being in the situation, so I thought that was really cool.
I love that, and I did not know that, so that's awesome that, like, the women actually had a say in.
Yeah, it was something like that. I'll try and find the episode for you and I'll send it to you, because I listened to it maybe about a year ago. I'm
Yeah.
probably not doing it justice, but I'll send it over to you so you can listen to it. It's really interesting.
Sounds great, and I loved the comedic aspect that they kinda threw in Barbarian. Like, the last thing to say about that was when he's, like, measuring and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get more square footage." It
Yeah,
just
and
makes.
it's so funny because like he's completely oblivious to potentially his life being in danger. Just like I said with him, like the male character being like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm gonna make a fortune.
Yeah,
And obviously he's a bad guy, doesn't care what's gonna happen to him because he is the bad guy that does bad things.
absolutely.
But yeah, no, such good performance from him as a villain rather than a victim.
Yes, Justin Long is like I classify him as one of my horror kings because I just think
Oh,
he's great in anything he does, whether you feel sorry for him or whether you are literally rooting for him to just bite the big one.
him and Kyle Gallner.
Yes, I love him.
Both of those are like Scream Kings to me. They're up there. They've both done their fair share of horror movies, and like they smash the performance every time. And he's in Strange Darling, so please watch it.
I cannot. When is that coming out? When will that be it Is it soon, we think?
It's going to Shudder September 26th, I believe.
Okay.
And I think it is in selected theatres at the moment
Okay.
in the
I'll have to check
US.
that out.
So yeah, it might be on near you, but I don't know if it's there for long.
I hope so because I was really
Oh,
sad. Our theater, I bought a passport for Movie Tavern, and it was immaculate,
oh,
long legs, and cuckoo for $20. Like you cannot pass
oh
that up, right? So when I went to go book my showing for Cuckoo, and they had like a poster at our theater, and they actually like were showing the previews, they didn't even show it, so I didn't get a chance to see it in
no.
theater. Yeah, and I'm sad because Cuckoo is one that I really wanted to experience on the big screen.
Have you seen it since on streaming?
I haven't seen it yet.
No, neither have I. That's one that I need to watch.
Yes,
I
hopefully we'll
think
get to
it's
watch
good.
it soon because I it's funny to see how divisive these movies are because I either see people saying, "What the fuck did I just watch?"
Yeah.
or "It was amazing."
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that sometimes. I never really get any comments that are like, oh, it was okay. It's either like,
Mhm.
oh my God, if I've said I think something was brilliant, like Strange Darling, they're like, oh my God, yes, it was the best film ever. Or people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? That film was shit. Like nobody's ever like, oh, it was okay. It's like one or the other.
It's mediocre, it's in the middle.
Yeah, but I think people just love to fight me sometimes. So I'll just let them carry on.
Don't you just love when you get those comments in your comment section where it's just like you put an opinion, which is how you feel for the
Yeah.
people who are listening that don't understand the difference between an opinion and like how
Mm.
it is, and they just want to sit and argue with you.
Yeah, I mean, I thrive off of it. I just leave them there, and I'm just like, this is brilliant because
I love it.
at the end of the day, you're interacting with my content, and that's only good. So as long as you're not coming for me and you want to just try and correct me, then carry on.
Exactly. Keep it going.
Yeah.
But I have one last question for
Okay.
you, and I think we kind of touched on it because you were talking about like your horror kings. Who are
Mm.
some of like your favorite horror characters? And it doesn't have to be necessarily from this year, but maybe not so much as like the antagonists, like the villains, but some horror characters that you truly enjoy watching in movies.
Ooh, ooh, let me think. I
Yes.
mean, there's the Scream Queens that I'm always gonna love,
Hmm.
like Nev Campbell and Jamie Lee Curtis. Lauren Lavera also, she's up there for me now as well as
Absolutely.
a bit of a Scream Queen. Um, who else do I? There's like Shani Vincent as Erin in Your Next. She's up
Yes.
there as like one of the best final girls ever, and she hasn't really done much since, which I'm sad about. I used to watch her. She was in Home and Away, and I
Hmm.
used to watch her in a Home and Away days. And then when I saw her in this, I was like, oh my god! And
So
then she hasn't.
exciting.
Yeah, and she was so good in it, and she hasn't really done much since. But I loved her. I'm trying to think of some other actors that like I like Jenna Ortega.
Hmm.
She likes horror movies, isn't she? And she's just done
Yes.
Beetlejuice as well, which I'm excited about.
Yes.
I'm trying to think who else.
I know it's hard because like I feel like the horror world has changed significantly with like who we used to have as scream queens and who
Yeah.
is now coming because we have like our solid like Jenna Ortega's, Mia Goss, but then there
Mia
are,
Goth, yeah.
girls like ladies like Lauren Rivera that kill it.
Oh,
And like in one, like honestly, she shows up in Terrifier 2 and she's like stole my horror heart. Like
mm,
amazing.
phenomenal. Yeah, Mia Goth, another one. Really, I was a little disappointed with Maxine, but
Mhm.
not disappointed with her because her performance was phenomenal, like as always. I don't. What did you think of Maxine?
So for me, I was lost at the ending. Like the ending
Yeah.
kind of like I feel like maybe if we would have gotten a different outcome on that, I would have
Mm,
enjoyed it so much more. But can we please talk about two of my favorite moments from that movie,
please.
which would be the alley scene and
I
the
knew you were
the
going to say that. Yeah.
ball stomping. I don't even
So good.
no testicles, but holy shit, did I grab down there because I was like, could you imagine? It was so
She
intense.
is such a badass in that. And what's the other scene?
Kevin Bacon scene.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah,
Just it's so simple, but like to see the
but
blood gushing
effective.
out. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I did like that. Yeah, that the alleyway was my favorite scene by
Hmm.
far.
Absolutely.
I did like the closing credit shot of the head and like and the end of the movie, but
Yeah.
just yeah, a little bit disappointing. And you really do need to see the previous movies, or you certainly need to see Pearl before you watch
Hmm.
Maxine, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. I was lost, and I'd rewatched X and Pearl the week before
Yes.
to refresh my memory, and I was still thinking, what the hell is going on here? But
I'm so glad you
yeah,
said that because I was the same way. Like my sister-in-law was down and she's like, so, and I just watched them too, and I'm like sitting there drawing a blank. I'm like, I honestly don't really know what the fuck's going on either. So
no, yeah, it was a bit strange, but nevertheless, her performance was great. And who else did I just think of that I really like? Oh, Samara Weaving.
love her.
Love, love, love her. Loved her in the opening of Scream 6. Loved her in Ready or Not. And I just
Yes.
want to see her in more horror. Ready or Not, so good.
So fucking good. And I'm glad that you said the opening of Scream 6 because that opening,
Oof.
I was so happy that they took a risk with that. I
I
loved it.
could not believe what I was seeing. That, like, I mean, they needed to do something extravagant with it's a sixth installment. It
Yeah.
needs to be different. And fucking hell,
Yes.
revealing a killer in the first 5 minutes.
It's
When
like
he
the
took
goat.
that mask off, I was like, fuck.
I know. And then I was so like confused in the best way possible, but that's what I wanted because I felt like I haven't had a connection like that in
Yeah.
a Scream movie since like 1 and 2.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, I did have Scream 6 spoiled for me. So, spoiler
You
alert, if
did?
you haven't seen Scream 6, stop listening now. But two of the three killers I knew who they were going to be because somebody leaked it. They put it on Instagram. So I knew that it was going to be Ethan and the detective. I did not know
Oh.
about Quinn, and I didn't know the relationship. But I did. So I was a little bit disappointed because I'd hoped and prayed that it was
Mhm.
wrong, but it wasn't wrong.
That's so
Um,
shitty that someone ruined that, like, for you and the other people that
and
saw
then
that.
whoever else saw it, yeah, because I don't know why, but spoilers always seem to get out on Twitter and then or X now, and they repost them on Instagram. So it's so difficult when we both talk about horror and all the accounts we follow are horror accounts, and there's always going to
Yes,
be one who's going to ruin it. So it's so hard for us to try and avoid things
absolutely.
when literally the whole community is talking about horror or people have seen things earlier or spoilers. So I mean, it happens, but I still thought it was a great film. And did you as well? Just talking about the opening of Scream 6 in the cinema, I did not notice Ghostface standing in the alleyway. You
I
know, when Samara Weaving, she gets like halfway down, she's on the phone and she stops, she realizes it's like a Ghostface voice and she turns and
Mhm.
there's like a dumpster there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until I watched it at home, like on a different screen or whatever, that he's standing there the whole time because she's like looking at him, isn't she? I never saw it in the cinema, so I was like, is he standing there or not? And then when I watched it at home, I was like, fuck, he's
What?
literally standing there. Same thing happened to me with First Omen when I
Mhm.
watched it in the cinema. the scene where like she's losing her mind. She's like, what the fuck is going on? And they lock her in that bedroom.
Mhm.
And then she wakes up and she can hear something in the corner of the room, and it's the girl who burned herself.
Yes.
She
Okay.
gets up, like she crawls up and she's like burnt. I
Yes.
couldn't see anything in the cinema until she was like right in focus. But when I
Mhm.
watched it at home, you can see her in the corner of the room the whole time. And she gets up and she walks over. So like it's worth, even if you've seen it in the cinema, it's worth when it comes on streaming or whatever, watching it at home, because there's lots of things that you can miss.
Yes, and that's, like, crazy because I did not and I will admit this, I was a little bit like, over 5 just because I wasn't happy with the killer reveal, and
Okay.
that's just, like, you know, a personal thing, but
Yeah.
overall happy that we got a Scream in
Mm,
2022 because I'm here for that. So
100%.
with 6, I was like, maybe I won't get myself as excited. I went and I saw that probably 5 times in the movies with other people because people were going and they're like, "Do you want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it." So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to rewatch and see because
Please.
have them so blatantly open, like in a scene. I love that.
He's there because in the cinema I was like, she's staring into a dark alley, and then at home I'm like, oh my god, she's staring right at him. He's standing right there, like very blatantly with the knife. And so yeah, and again, if you watch First Omen at home as well,
Yes.
let me know if you spot her coming out like in the corner.
I will. I'll have to rewatch it. I want to do like a halfway. I mean, we're past halfway, but rewatch of the ones that just like have already come out in prep
Yes.
for the end of the year because I feel like making my list this year is going to be so hard
Yeah,
to narrow it down.
I did do a post a couple of weeks ago about horror movie releases that I'd seen this
Mhm.
year and what I thought of them. And it was mixed. So I'm hoping, like for the rest of the things that come out this year, they're sort of ones that I am anticipating. So I'm hoping they're all going to be like 5, 6 out of 10 above now
Yes.
for the rest of the year. And the threes and the fours and the twos are all like done with.
Yes. You don't even have to like worry about them at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know
So
what's
fingers
really
crossed.
Yes. You know what's really surprising is majority of my list is like independent horror that
Mm.
really had like no huge buzz around it, but like there was an indie film called The Moor, Moor.
Oh, this sounds familiar.
Yes, and that one was like very folk horror, but like super scary visuals, great atmosphere,
Oh.
music, like
I
all of
don't think
that.
I've seen it, but I've seen like the poster for it on Instagram somewhere.
Yes, that and if you can, like if you get the chance to watch that one, and then there's one called Lore, and that's a horror anthology.
Okay.
And it has my favorite kill of 2024, and it's like during this slasher sequence, and I
This is a
think it was
bold statement.
very bold, but I am literally solidifying that. Like I have not seen anything
Ooh, I'm putting it in my
as
letterbox now.
yes, please. And I'd love to hear your thoughts because I brought that up on the other pod, and one of the guys watched it, and he's like, "Okay, that movie is the first movie I've seen in a long time that I wanted more
Is this
of
it?
this." Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
If you
It's
can,
going in.
watch it because it is whew,
Okay.
it's
That's
fun.
good.
It's a
I
yeah,
I did watch a sort of independent horror film with Lauren Lavera yesterday called The Well. Have you seen that?
I'm halfway through it because,
Ah!
you know, we love to, like, do a whole bunch of things and then try to attempt a movie super late, and then you end up falling asleep, so I
I
have
do it
to
all the
I
time. But I watched it in a couple of parts because I kept getting distracted. But I finished it yesterday and I did enjoy it. I thought it was good.
yes. I think sh again, when we were talking about her as a like, a horror staple, she's just so, like she's so poised, and she's such a great actress, but then
Yeah.
when she turns that shit on, it's, like, on another level.
I mean, she is the reason why I watched it. I watched it for her, really. I didn't really know
Same.
anything about it, but when I knew that she was in it, I was like, "Yep, chuck it on. I'll watch it," and it was good. It was really good.
Yes. Well, I'm excited. I'll have to finish it now, but well, I am at the end of my questions for you, my dear, but I literally had so much fun
Me
chatting with you.
too. It was so
Me
much fun. Sorry if I went off on a tangent like 100 times. I just can't help myself.
Tangent. I live for tangents, and I know I could have probably talked for another 2 hours. So
I
let's
know,
stop.
I know. I've got so much more to say.
I know. Well, you know what? We'll have to
We'll
do
do
like
another one.
we'll do another one, and I want to do it after you go to Horror Nights so we can talk about our Horror Nights experience.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I won't stop talking for like 2 hours, but if you'll have me for 2 hours, let's do it.
I'd love to. We'll definitely plan for that. But why don't you tell everyone what you have going on, where they can find you if they haven't already followed you, because you'd be silly if you didn't.
Of course. So I'm
Mhm.
Annie's Horror at Annie's Horror on Instagram, and on TikTok I'm at Annie's Horror _ and you can message me on both of them, send me recommendations, let me know what you're watching, what you think is good, and my DMs are always open.
Yes, I love that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Please take care of yourself, take care of others, and drink some water. Bye, guys.
Wine.
And wine. And wine.
Bye.